showtime!
No, there'll be none of that egotistical bollocks on this channel.
Greetings, entire world. LightHead here. Some say an autonomic defensive response to a world gone mad. Others say,
Oh yeah, let's LightHead!
This will be understood in good time. As for my purpose, wow, these days everything appears to be pretty god-awful, really. We seem to regularly observe terrible events such as floods,
Move back! Move back! Everybody move back!
tsunamis, wildfires, and this buffoon.
You still fight?
Yes, I do.
You still dangerous?
Our world suddenly appears to be at the beginning of its end, doesn't it?
Yes!
Should this necessarily be the case?
No!
Indeed, even now it is very apparent to me that we still have the opportunity to save this comically ridiculous goldfish ball in which we find ourselves born and floating cluelessly.
Oh my god! Ah!
As my favourite gym crusader Joey Swall would confidently state,
You need to do better.
Oh yes, Joey.
and that's exactly what this most humble of channels is all about. Well, that and characters like the waddling Stevie Boy Boom Boom McSigal Chum Chum, obviously. Was an athlete that Native American, Russian, Irish, Chinese, Japanese, Mongolian, ex-CIA, FBI, ATF, BLOP Special Forces guy is.
Silent and profiling!
So, let's get to saving this resplendent old dirtball, shall we? Because one can't do it alone. And where better to begin this grand adventure of ours than with this. Ah yes, AI, the lazy man's workhorse, lightening the load of the modern content producer with its spectacular, nonsensical weirdness and pointless irreverence. A vastly powerful tool, capable of being utilized by anyone and designed to alleviate man's need to be creative, and therefore capable, but currently mostly used for ghastly imagery.
Yeah.
Up until now, it's only been that creativity that gave us the discovery of fire,
I'm on fire!
the creation of the wheel, and so on. We've already spent the last few handful of generations actively reducing our intelligence as we've allowed the relatively few smart men to create our technology for us, and now we see technology becoming smart enough to create itself.
The robots building robots. Well, that's just stupid.
It won't be long before we find ourselves living on a Wall-E-style dystopian nightmare, where all will become fat, lazy, stupid, and proud of the fact.
I love the fuck out of cookies.
Yes, we know. So proud, in fact, that those living in such a state will become resilient to the very concept of change and self-improvement, because it will mean having to do something as unthinkable as getting off their ample posteriors for 5 minutes.
No. I'm right where I'm supposed to be.
You don't want what you want!
And that's just for entertainment purposes. Can you imagine the damage it'll do when it turns into Skynet? And now we find ourselves in the very tricky position of not knowing for certain which images we see are even real. Am I real? You don't know.
Of course I bloody am!
But it's already begun to be a real problem, like it was for this woman,
Notice how I didn't say lady.
who actually believed that Brad Pitt himself was pleading with her to provide money for vital medical treatment, as opposed to, you know, being an obvious scam.
She claims a person posing as the actor's mom DM'd her on Facebook. And a month later, the fake Brad started communicating with her himself, asking her to marry him, ditch her husband, and help him out with some medical bills he says he couldn't afford.
Brad Pitt, a millionaire, and now her man, who is himself already a millionaire by the way, is no longer her man. Good for you, mate.
She belongs to the street.
And deepfake Brad is already off to con the next rube. More and more, the intricacies of human invention are being lost thanks to the advent of artificial intelligence. Just look at the AI-generated opening of Marvel's Secret Invasion. Actually, no, nobody wants to see that travesty. But it's yet another indication that lazy writers are increasingly content to leave their burden to a technology that isn't even fully there yet. And what do we get when the blind lead the blind? That's right. Even the very name given to this creation, artificial intelligence. Seems comical given most of what it's producing seems to be complete and utter dross. I mean, just look at it.
You're making fun of me.
The farcical seems to be most people's first port of call, and while it's clear that these images can be amusing, they also grow tiresome very quickly.
Finish me off!
It only took a few minutes of digging through this eye-watering irreverence to highlight how rapidly wearisome it all becomes. And those who are frantically churning away to get this gobbledygook out there are essentially wasting their time. There's simply too much of this content already, and it's all dreck. No, dreck. It appears the intelligence part of AI is a bit of a misnomer at this relatively nascent stage. As the refreshingly intelligent comedian Jimmy Carr once opined,
my opinion on AI is, if you listed me the attributes of God, right, you would say he's omnipotent, and he's all-knowing, and he's all-powerful, and he lives in a cloud, and he can make miracles happen, right? Those are the attributes of a deity, of a God. And I think we were not made in God's image, but I think we so wanted there to be a God that we built one in our image.
Very well said, Jimmy. Indeed, we seem to crave a godlike force in our lives, whether we're personally inclined to routinely deny the divine or not. And we seem prepared to do just about anything to make it a reality, despite the openly spoken misgivings of the very intelligent people, or fools, creating it.
The guy that created AI for Google, he quit and said, guys, I'm pulling the pin on this. It was looking dangerous. I've now seen the impact of what this can do to the world.
If it gets to be much smarter than us, it'll be very good at manipulation because it will have learned that from us. It'll figure out ways of manipulating people to do what it wants. I don't think we can stop the progress.
Ever notice how highly intelligent people seem to have scarily large blind spots of the common sense variety?
And now I am become death.
Bloody hell I do, and it scares the shit out of me. Perhaps it would be better if we were to leave the AI to act more as a subsidiary workhorse, or perhaps donkey, while encouraging the, shall we be extremely generous and say, creatives of TV and Tinseltown to actually practice their craft for a change?
Looking at you, Hollywood writers!
Because without the essence of humanity injected into our stories, we lose that which connects us to stories to begin with. Just look at the vomit Michael Bay drowned cinema in. And ultimately, that's what these things that are so precious really are. Stories. They are the bedrock of learning, understanding, and inspiration, introduced in our youth via bedtime stories and evolved through our love of TV, film, and books.
I don't even read anymore!
Not to judge, but it is such a terrible shame that so few people read nowadays, especially as books are so much better than their film counterparts. Woo! Creativity is a most precious resource fueled by the very thing that AI seems to be taking from us. Imagination. Ultimately, I would strongly advise against becoming willfully lazy and losing your ability to create. Or you may discover that you're found just as wanting as the talentless, unenthusiastic, and inexperienced clowns writing the stories with which we are being consistently bombarded these days. Woo! And when the older generation is gone, the younger generations shall be referring largely to the rubbish we're seeing now. A change needs to be made. The idiocracy doesn't seem quite so unrealistic anymore, does it? And so I shall close this most first-iest of episodes with a simple, yet poignant thought. Let's try, generally, not to lose our way any more than we already have.
And now, a word on nutrition. Stop! We can't take anymore!
Right, is that everything? Oh no, wait, there's another bit.
Now, don't get too excited here because this isn't a Marvel film.
I won't say movie, it's dumb!
And there won't be a post-credit scene on every occasion, but, as a brief aside, I would firstly like to quickly announce that I am rather proud to be a new member of the great YouTube community. many of its creators of which I've admired for some time for their witty outlooks and amusing takes, the good ones at least, and I very much look forward to entertaining you. For the first week I shall be releasing one video per day, because I do so enjoy hitting the ground running, and from that point on I shall be releasing one video per... well, who can say really? Nobody told me just how much time needs to go into producing an half-decent video. And given how long this one took, I can only assume it shall be something approaching 1 to 2 per week. Or perhaps 3 if I make shorter ones. I shall leave that eventuality to you. You have only to inform me of your desires in the comments section, which I shall be reading with tremendous relish, positive and negative replies alike, because I do so enjoy stirring up a good debate. And all that is, of course, if the responsibilities and stresses of life permit, which they may not. Isn't uncertainty grand? See you tomorrow.
Like and subscribe.